is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are FC.
The last time the Royals and Blue Jays met at Kauffman Stadium, the Royals used their brains and speed to win the American League pennant, making for a long, cold winter in Toronto. And when the sun came up this year, the Blue Jays were ready for a rematch and blasted their way to a 3-game sweep at Rogers Center. The two teams are back in Kansas City for a weekend series beginning tonight. Royals baseball is back in Kansas City. A 6-game homestand begins tonight, beginning with 3 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. We have been asking ourselves this question. We have asked each other this question. We have asked members of the Royals this question. All throughout the season, why can't the Royals do on the road what they've been able to do at Kauffman Stadium this year?
Well, Ryan, last year they were on a mission. They came 2 runs shy of winning a World Series in 14. They had a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They didn't care whether they're on the road or at home, and they attacked, and they kept that edge. This year it's been a little bit different. When they come home to play here, they feel that energy, they feel that playoff atmosphere, and they want to rise to that occasion. And fortunately, we're home, and maybe they will hit to those marks at home.
Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard, with all the problems the Royals have had offensively, they haven't had many problems when they're at home.
No, you know what? And that 4.7 runs per game, that should be enough. If that pitching can do their thing and get that back into the pin, hopefully we see that here against the Jays.
Royals really need to get Eric Hosmer going in the last 2 months of the season. Maybe the Blue Jays will be the team that gets him going. He's had some of the best and biggest hits of his career against Toronto. Tonight, we were talking about Eric Hosmer in the last segment. I thought, and many others did, that being All-Star Game MVP would be a big lift for Eric Hosmer in the second half. So far, that hasn't happened. We still have 2 months to go. Eric is our most trusted player, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda. He's had some huge hits in his career against the Blue Jays.
He has, and if you watch his successful at bats, now that was a mistake that was up, but really what Hosmer's doing now is his mechanics aren't the same. He's changing from night to night, from at bat to at bat. He hasn't found it, so he's searching. Now hopefully the energy from this crowd at the K and the Blue Jays, whom he hits well off of, will bring that back, and he needs to find some consistency.
Dylan Gee will start for the Royals. The Royals will see some tough pitching. The Blue Jays have the best ERA in the American League. Joel and Monty are coming up next.
As Dylan Gee set to throw the first pitch in just about 7 minutes. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. Royals will gladly take another 6-inning performance, season high from Gee last time.
Yeah, they would love to get that. I don't think you have to expect too much from Dylan Gee. Get him 5 or 6 innings, give him a chance to win a ball game.
Now, the challenge for Royals hitters is the Blue Jays pitching. Toyota League leaders, they are the best in the American League.
Well, on paper, they are very good. They've been really good at going deep into ball games. All their starting pitchers have really quality stuff, tremendous stuff. I think that's going to be the challenge. You're going to see these guys day after day after day, tough pitchers on the mound to get things started for these Blue Jays.
As that Royals offense looks to break out. And speaking of offense, and there's a lot of it in Toronto, boy, can they swing it. We discuss next. you could circle one name to try to identify as a pitcher. Can't do that with this group.
No, they have such depth, top to bottom in their lineup, and all these guys have power. Everybody in this lineup has the ability to hit the ball at the ballpark.
They scored 6 runs per game in the 3-game series against the Royals at Rogers Center back July 4th through the 6th. And that was with Jose Bautista on the DL. He's back. How do you pitch these guys?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you have to look at one guy at a time. You can't try to get 9 batters out at one time. One guy at a time. If you do that, you're going to be okay. They're going to score some runs. Just keep those crooked numbers off the boards on the long ball.
And can't put pressure on yourself even though your offense has been struggling.
That's right. And you want to try to get some runs early. If you're that offense, pick up your pitchers, get some runs on your own.
It is good to be back home after a tough road trip. The beginning of this series about to start. Ryan and Hud have the first pitch coming up next.
Royals baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. A refreshing 79 degrees with overcast. And high temperature may not get to 80 for both tomorrow and Sunday's games. So a nice reprieve from the hot summer months as Dylan Gee takes the mound, making his 8th start of the year and making his first start against the Toronto Blue Jays since 2012.
Okay, now, and he's hoping that he can keep that ball underneath their bats because this is a powerful team. He's got 4 nice pitches that they're all pretty much average, and the league is hitting over 300 off of him, but he's got to somehow find a way to keep that ball out of the air.
Blue Jays are 3rd in the American League in runs scored and 2nd in home runs. They led the league in both of those categories last year. Inside to Devin Travis, who was just coming back from an injury when the Royals faced the Blue Jays in Toronto. 1 ball, 1 strike. .330 on base percentage for the leadoff man, Devin Travis. 1-2.
Yep, G's going to mix up his pitches a lot more than he has been when he first started. Now this is his 8th start. His fastball they're hitting 331 off of, so he's been mixing in more curveballs and changeups. Those are less hit.
That breaking ball stayed up, and that ball will not come back. A good breaking ball followed by a hanging breaking ball. And another run scored against the Royals this year in the first inning.
Hard to figure. Just like the way the Royals have been playing on the road compared to home, it's hard to figure that as well. But that putting the offense behind early has been stressful for their offense. Now that ball, it hung up and he stayed right with it. It's almost like he knew it was coming, middle of the plate.
Jose Bautista, and that's hit hard to center field.
Jays coming out swinging. What new? They swept the Royals up at their house. They've got to be able to defend their territory here. Royals defense sponsored by Ford. They've saved 22 defensive runs. That's 3rd best in the American League. Mondesi's back in there at second base. Paulo in center. Locane in right.
And now last year's MVP, Josh Donaldson, who will be in the running again for that award this year. 2nd in the league in walks, 2nd in slugging percentage, 2nd in OPS, 4th with those 77 RBIs, 4th with the 27 home runs.
Simply one of the best hitters in baseball. Easily put. He's very patient. He doesn't swing unless it's his pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And believe me, every team does their homework on their opponent that night. They don't look anything past it because there's too much to worry about today. But they're seeing that G is giving up that average both sides of the plate, that he's hittable. So they're going to stay aggressive and look out over the middle. And G has to be perfect in order to keep these guys off the board, and he couldn't do it early. Like I said, keep the ball out of the air if you can.
Donaldson hit 2 home runs when the Royals were in Toronto back in July. And being very careful, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Sometimes you got to take your chances and hope that he can hit it into a double play. He's in deuce 7 this year. G has.
A home run, a single, and a walk. Royals have allowed 83 runs and 25 home runs in the first inning this year. That's the most in the major leagues. And now the Royals have given up more home runs in the first inning this year than they did all of last year. And we still have 1/3 of the season to play this year.
Yeah, and that's another statistic that it's hard to explain. Talking with Dave Island about that, he looks at me frustrated saying, hey, look, if we could figure that out, we would. It's just one of those years that it has not worked. And we've continued to talk about that. Those runs given up in the first inning.
2 on for Edwin Encarnacion. And a slow roller hit to Cuthbert. So G gets a ground ball, but it's not a double play ground ball. Bautista to 3rd. And Donaldson to 2nd.
And it was a productive out, moving him over to 2nd and 3rd. Now, Dylan G's last start, he was a ground ball machine. He's able to keep it on the ground in 88 pitches.
10 ground ball outs.
Yep.
In those 6 innings at Texas. And he was hurt by the home run. All 4 runs were by way of a home run. Michael Saunders with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. With all these first inning runs, I think the Royals have spent most of the year seeing what it feels like to play the 2014 and 2015 Royals. They're seeing what it feels like. Early runs against them, behind early in the game, going to the dugout after an inning or two and you're down by 3 or 4 runs. I mean, that's what the Royals were doing in 14 and 15.
They weren't, and not just necessarily a power team, but they were able to keep the line moving and pressure teams early in games. It doesn't matter how you score the runs, it's just score them. A lot of doubles, a lot of singles, hitting and running, steals.
Good block by Salvi with runners at second and third. 1 and 2 on Saunders.
G would love a strikeout here, especially to Saunders. He's 6th in the American League in strikeouts with 116. So you can get him.
He gets a pop-up. Bautista to the bag. Alex makes a play. Bautista tags and holds, and that was a pretty good decision. 2 down.
Yeah, Luis Rivera, a third base coach for the Blue Jays. He's been in the league a long time. He's well schooled on the outfield arms. He used to say, look, we'll wait on Tulowitzki. But Alex is able to get to it. He wanted to get some momentum coming in on the throw, but really he doesn't need it. Alex is so gifted with his arm that he doesn't have to have a lot of momentum coming into his throw. Very strong arm.
So 2 down to Troy Tulowitzki. And he's drilled by the first pitch. So the Jays have had a home run, they've had a single, they've had a walk, and they've had a hit batter. And Troy Tulowitzki just returned to the lineup last night. He had missed a few games. He has a chip fracture in his thumb. So he's played hurt for most of his career, and now he's playing with a chipped thumb and sore ribs.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad to see him back in the lineup, though. I mean, this guy's had a lot of bad fortune, and they need him this time. And when he went out and he got hit by on his index finger, you could see it on the slow motion. It caught just that finger. But I was surprised to see him back so soon. I thought he might be on the DL or his thumb.
In for a strike to Russell Martin, who bats with the bases loaded, 2 down.
If it was his index finger, he probably wouldn't be able to throw the ball.
Change up is low. 1-1 on Martin. The stickier the situation, the better that Dylan G gets. Right field, Lorenzo Cain is there. So all in all, not that bad. The Jays get a run, but Dylan G, with runners at second and third and 1 out, does not allow another run. Devin Travis leadoff home run. The Royals batting order tonight against Francisco Liriano. Royals were 2-8 on the road trip, and they scored 3 runs or fewer in all 8 games. That ties a Royals single season record. They did it in 72 and they did it in 76, and they'd like that streak to end tonight against a pitcher who's making his Blue Jays debut, but in the National League this year he had a 5.46 ERA.
Yeah, how about that? That's a high mark for sure. But this is a guy that's going to really test the Royals offense with their patience. He's a guy that doesn't like to pitch to contact necessarily. He likes to pitch to swing and misses and stay out of the strike zone if at all possible. He's got a good fastball. He'll go 92 to 95. He's got a sinker and a four-seamer that has a little bit of downhill angle to it. Slider curve change.
That's a swing. Brian Gorman is the crew chief and first base umpire.
A lot of those sliders to the back leg of right-handed batters. He relies on Chase. Liriano.
Changeup, 1-2.
61.5% of his pitches have been outside of the zone this year. That's the highest among all Major League Baseball pitchers that are qualified starters. And so he's going to rely on Chase.
Low throw, and it skips by Encarnacion and goes out of play. So Darwin Barney, known more for his work at second base than at third, gives the Royals a break, and what should have been a routine out puts a runner at second base with nobody out.
Yep, he spiked the throw for his 5th there. You can see Escobar just trying to put the ball in play to Hopper. Barney a little short with it, 5th there.
Darwin Barney won a Gold Glove playing second base for Dale Swaim when they're with the Cubs together. Fastball strike to Cheslor Cuthbert. Blocked by Martin. I'd mentioned all the pitches out of the strike zone for Francisco Liriano, and he's paid the price for that. His teams have paid the price for that. These are the major league leaders in walks, and Liriano has 10 more than former Royal Brandon Finnegan. Hector Santiago's on that list. Hector Santiago is a Minnesota Twin now.
It'll be a challenge for Royals hitters. They're an aggressive hitting team. That'll be the tail against Liriano if they can wait for their pitch. I told you the sliders to the back door, to the back leg of the right-handed batters is going to be a pitch that they're going to have to lay off of, look him up in the zone. And his changeup is one he goes to against righties. That's his go-to pitch with a runner in scoring position.
2-2. Cuthbert hitting a 2-1 slider.
That was out over the plate. Cuthbert missed it. He'd like to have that back. Cheslor's hitting .299 with a runner in scoring position.
Into center field, a base hit. Upton's got it. Upton has a strong arm. So Escobar, good decision with the help of Mike Jershely to hold at third, and the Royals have runners at the corners and nobody out.
Life offensively in the first inning, something that we haven't seen in a while, is welcome. Now it's a good thing that Cuthbert didn't advance to second base on the overthrow of the cutoff man by Upton in center. Okay, it's a clean base hit. The ball was hit hard. Even though he overthrew the cutoff man, if he catches that ball, or even if Martin catches it and throws him out, that would really kind of hurt this inning here. So a good job by Cuthbert staying home.
First and third, nobody out to Lorenzo Cain, who had most of yesterday off, and then appeared in the 9th inning as a pinch hitter and singled. And he grounds it off of Liriano's glove, but the Blue Jays will still get a double play. The Royals will get a run. So the trade-off is the Royals tie the game.
Defensively, the Toronto Blue Jays, they're plus 30 in defensive run saves, second in the American League. So we're seeing 2 out of 3 of the best defensive fielding teams in the American League here tonight, saving runs.
Two outs, nobody on to Eric Hosmer. Hosmer had 2 hits yesterday. It appeared that he wasn't over swinging and using the middle of the field yesterday. Now he goes to the opposite field and hits it hard to Barney at third. The Royals tie it. They take advantage of Barney's error, and it's 1-1 at the end of 1. It's a home run. The Royals leadoff man Alcides Escobar reaches on an error and comes around to score. Lorenzo Cain grounds into a double play, and that gets Escobar in from third. So all tied up. And now Melvin Upton Jr., formerly B.J. Upton, traded to the Blue Jays and playing in his 9th game since coming over from the Padres at the deadline, or shortly before the deadline. Good start for Dillon Gee with the comebacker. His first batter of the game homered Devin Travis on a 1-2 pitch.
That would have been interesting had that got between his legs. It looked like Mondesi might have been able to catch it, but would they have been able to throw him out? I don't know. Upton runs well. Good play for himself.
Inside to Darwin Barney. It was his throwing error that allowed Escobar to reach and go to second base and eventually score. Out to Paulo Orlando. 2 down. The Royals have been hit hard with injuries all year. The Blue Jays only have 2 players on the disabled list. Our University of Kansas hospital injury report. Ezequiel Carrera had a big home run against the Royals when they were there in early July. He has a strained left Achilles. So they've been, or they are healthy at the moment. Jose Bautista's been on the disabled list. He was out for over a month. But just 2 players on the DL right now, Ezequiel Carrera and Gavin Floyd, and John Gibbons' team didn't really have a whole lot of stock in Gavin Floyd this year, but just 2 guys on the shelf with less than 2 months to go.
Good for him. The Royals experienced that in 14 and 15. Unusual. They didn't have any of their key players missing, and for Gibbons, he's got some free agents that are going to be leaving the house or leaving the nest next year. So this is their year. They're extremely hopeful. They thought last season was their year. The Royals took it from them. They outplayed them.
They are a better team altogether this year. Blue Jays lead the league in ERA. And you talked about their defensive numbers. Their offensive numbers aren't as good as they were last year, but they are much more balanced. Dylan Gee bounces back and gets the Jays 1-2-3 in the second. Of the second inning, Kendrys Morales, followed by Salvador Perez, and Alex Gordon will face Francisco Liriano, who allowed an unearned run in the first inning. 0-1 on Morales. The Rangers and the Rays held Kendrys Morales to 1 RBI on the trip. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Morales, he got himself out a lot. He had some pitches that he could handle, but also he got into that aggressive mode where he was swinging outside of the strike zone.
Still 1-2.
That's the right swing for Morales. Watching him in batting practice today, he was not even, he took a few pitches that were inside, and usually in batting practice you don't see hitters take pitches. He was looking for that pitch middle away and trying to drive him in that right center field alley.
Jammed and just over Tulowitzki. So a muscle base hit into left center field, and the Royals have their leadoff man on. Salvador Perez comes to the plate, and we welcome in Joel.
Well, Ryan, the last time the Blue Jays were here, obviously that left a bad taste in their mouth, but a great one for the Royals and their fans. And of course, there was that epic play of Lorenzo Cain going first to home And it wasn't just as simple as, hey, let's test out Jose Bautista's arm. A lot of work went into this, and we found out afterwards, and I was talking to Rusty Kuntz about it.
Caught by Saunders. Proceed, Joel.
Well, in that play, this was really information and intel that was gathered over the course of months. Once the Royals knew that they'd have a lot of possible playoff opponents, they started scouting teams like the Blue Jays back in August last year. And Rusty was telling me that he and Mike Jirschele, they'll give a checklist of things they want to know about, tendencies, and over the course of time, months of research, some of those tendencies came out. And one of the facts that came out was Jose Bautista, when he's going towards the wall, might turn back and just throw to second base no matter what. The Royals had that intel. Mike Jirschele was sitting on it. They made Bautista pay, and the Royals benefited big time from it.
And Jersh said that if he got a runner that could run and was giving him effort around third, it would happen. And so it just so happened that it happened to be Locane who was coming hard around the bag. So it made it easier to send him. Had to be the right place, right time, right runner.
Yeah, because if Lorenzo Cain is going 3/4 effort into third base and Mike Jirschele waves him home and he has to then try and kick it into another gear, maybe he's out on that relay from Tulowitzki.
How about that? Just the way things lined up, the scouting report, that's how baseball works. It's really weird, but you know, everything went right. The Royals attacked and they fed off of the energy of the crowd here at the Cave.
Morales at first with one out. You know, the two most aggressive plays that the Royals had in the postseason that really showed off their style of play was that one, and then of course Eric Hosmer dashing down from third in Game 5 of the World Series. There was intel involved in that play too. The Royals knew that David Wright had a sore arm, and they knew that Lucas Duda, the first baseman, struggled throwing to the bases. Strike 3 called on Alex. 2 down, and that's Liriano's first strikeout. So that doesn't take anything away from the player's natural instincts, and yet at the same time you take risks like that because of the information that you have going into the game.
And in the meetings, they don't give information overload. They only pull out a few things that a player can keep in his mind, because he's got so much to think about as far as making plays and then trying to hit that ball. But those things ended up being keys to the Royals in their first World Championship in 30 years.
Strike 2, Paulo Orlando. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The attention to detail over the last couple of seasons was perfect for the Royals.
Big chop to Barney at third, and he's on target to Devin Travis, and that's the inning. Royals Hall of Famer Amos Otis is in town. He'll join us in the broadcast booth when we come back. One of the best all around, certainly one of the most graceful players in Royals history. 3 Gold Gloves, 5 trips to the All-Star game. Amos Otis, as Jose Bautista lines out to Alex Gordon. 1 pitch and 1 away, and Amos is back in Kansas City, and good to see you. You look good in that Royals hat, by the way.
I wish I was out in the field with him too. But thanks for being here.
You were just telling Rex and me that you follow the team closely, you watch them on TV, and we've had a lot of fun the past few years.
Yeah, I get to see quite a few games, and especially the last couple of years when they won 1 and they lost 1. But I have to keep up with them. Still trying to figure out all the names.
They come and go pretty quickly in this sport now. But Amos, you had to like the way the style of defense that the Royals play. You were a defensive specialist and a great center fielder in your own right. Well, who's your favorite player out there?
Of course, the center fielder. You know who that is, Kane, because he makes it look real easy out there, sort of like I did, but I think he's a little faster than I am.
When I first came to the Royals in 1999, it was Carlos Beltran's rookie year, and I didn't get a chance to see you play in person with the Royals, but your name came up a lot when we watched a very young Carlos Beltran, as graceful as he was, and the power and the defense and the speed. Is that a fair comparison?
He's a lot better than I am. And he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But he has the ingredients of speed, power, good defensive player. Kind of slowed down lately because, you know, tail end of his career, but he's a Hall of Famer, I think.
Amos, you had a long career, but I read up on you. You're 3 years with the Mets before you joined the Royals. And your manager was Gil Hodges, and you were drafted as a shortstop, but Gil wanted you to play third base. And how'd that go?
Well, Gil called me one winter and said, could you play third base? I said, sure I can. That's the quickest way to get to the big league. The manager asked you, so I said, sure, I could play it. Well, he worked with me all spring training. And when the season started, they didn't play me. He said, because there's 50,000 people in the stands and you might be nervous. Well, finally I got to play. The third game I played, I took one in the wrong place, a line drive in the wrong place. And I was crawling, and they caught me in shortstop. And I said, that's it, I'm going to center field. But they had Tommy Agee out there, yeah.
Okay.
And I told Mr. Hodges that I would never play third base again. So he either trade me or release me. So that winter after we won the World Series, they traded me on my dad's birthday to Kansas City, which was, at that time, I said, the greatest thrill I had in baseball because I knew I was going to get a chance to play. With Agee and Swoboda and Cleon Jones all having good years.
With the Mets?
Right.
Well, you answered what was going to be my next question. Is how did you feel going to the Royals? But obviously you said it was the right thing for you.
The right thing.
And you got to, you only missed the very first season of the Royals in 1969, and so you were there when the team finally broke through in 1976.
Right.
And we were having dinner with I won't name him, but he's a member of the media, longtime Royals fan, covered the Royals for a long time, and he looked me in the eye and said, if Amos Otis hadn't gotten hurt in game 1 of the '76 playoffs, the Royals would have won the World Series that year.
Well, I got a lot of blame for that. So. But the reason that happened was I batted second all year long. And when they put me to lead off the game, my mentality went to leadoff hitter. So I was doing everything I can that a leadoff hitter would do to win the game. So I dropped the bunt down the third baseline and didn't get it over far enough, and I leaped the last maybe 12 feet in the air and hit the base the wrong way, and by the time I got to the dugout, my ankle was twice as big and I fractured it. And of course, when Chris Chambliss hit that home run to win the World Series, they said if Al Collins was in right field, instead of Hal McRae, he had a great shot at catching that ball. So all the blame points to A.O.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if it was blame. I think it was more just saying how important you were to that team. That was a huge void when you just playing hard. I mean, that's just the way the game goes sometimes.
And fractured my ankle. So, but The Yankees whipped up on us for 3 straight years, but we finally got them in '80.
Yeah.
Nice. 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover, like Ryan said. You led the American League in steals in '71 with 52 bags. What was the highlight of your career? What brought you the most joy?
Stealing bases and defense in the outfield. I had a pretty good way of stealing bases. I could read pitches from the very beginning, and I could always find something on them. Most of the time, I was still standing up because I didn't want to get dirty.
Okay.
Because the faster you run, you clean.
Yeah, hey, I like that. But you know, with video nowadays, you know, you could break down a pitcher and stuff. You didn't have that luxury back then, so you had to make reads right on the spot.
Right on the spot. Plus, I had a first base coach named Jose Martinez. He kept a book on all the pitchers in the league, and every day, whoever's pitching, I would talk to him, get a read on them, then I would watch myself and pick up something. It made it a lot easier.
Royals team now known for their speed the last 2 years in the playoffs. When you guys first moved to this ballpark with the artificial surface, you guys would just run teams into the fountains, wouldn't you?
That's because nobody else knew how to play in this ballpark. And that turf, we hit balls down the left field line and right field line. And the guys are breaking collarbones, trying to stop the ball, and banging their knees up, and we just ran crazy up in here because we practice every day out here, you know, not just batting practice, but we did it on defense the same way.
Three and two on Encarnacion.
Uh-oh.
And that'll reach the seats. What brings you to town?
Legends Night. Legends Night, and the fact that Jackson County gave me Amos Otis Day.
Congratulations.
So I got Legends Night with the Royals and day with Jackson County.
Good.
That's awesome.
And plus, I want to see, the Royals play. I don't get a chance to see them that often because I'm not in Kansas City a lot.
Hey, now, it's ball 4, but Amos, in order for you for Hodges, the manager for the Mets, to want you to play third base, you had to have a good arm. But in center field, you had a cannon, I heard.
It wasn't a cannon. Roberto Clemente had a cannon.
Okay, but
Rocky
look at this throw.
Calavita had the cannon.
Okay, but this throw here, one hopper. How do you explain that?
Yeah, I was standing behind second base when
I don't know about that. That was a little farther than behind second base.
I did all right, though.
You know, something that doesn't come up very often, but some of the highlights we're showing of you was from the old ballpark. What was the original ballpark like? Long gone now in Kansas City.
It was quite big. It was 369 down the left field line, 420-something to center.
That ball will stay in the ballpark, but will drive in a run. Michael Saunders gets Donaldson to the plate, and Encarnacion goes to third, and it's 2-1 Toronto.
But the infield and the outfield was just like AstroTurf over there. No pebbles, no rocks, or nothing in the infield. It was almost like playing in the living room.
George Thoma's work, huh?
George Thomas' work, yeah. And that great ground crew he had with him. Big ballpark, though.
Now, you're being very humble. We have a great statistician up here, Dave Holtzman. He said you had 126 outfield assists in your career. How do you explain that if you didn't have a good arm?
Guys were just running into double plays and running in the house at home plate, but after a while they stopped running on you and you stopped throwing a lot. So I didn't get too many assists after that. My first year over here, I think I had 15 or 16, and they didn't know who I was.
But they found out eventually.
Found out quickly.
That's right. So that's interesting what you said about the old ballpark, because the team was becoming a speed team and learning how to take advantage of a big ballpark before they moved to then Royal Stadium.
Well, that's because they started to build around speed and pitching, and of course defense came in after that. But in the old ballpark, they had Freddie Patek was a base stealer. I became one later. But the ballpark was so big, you had to go to speed and defense. And so that's what they did over there. We came over here, you know, this is quite a big ballpark at 385 in the gaps. So we did the same thing over here. So eventually we had speed, pitching, and defense like the Royals had the last 2 years.
And it's been really nice too to see the game is really rewarding speed and defense again after all those years of just home run, home run, home run.
Well, they seem to hit a lot of home runs this year too, so
That's true.
but it's nice that the speed is coming back, the base stealing. It's a lost art. The only thing I hate about the base stealing is if they don't hold you on late in the game, you don't get a stolen base.
That's right.
And I think that's wrong. They need to change that rule.
Who was one of the guys you looked up to in your day that you mentioned Roberto Clemente? Is there any others?
Well, my idol was Hank Aaron because I grew up about a mile from Hank Aaron, and Billy Williams was another idol. He was about 2 miles from me. Cleon Jones and A.G. The closest guy to me was Willie McCovey, was a block and a half. But Hank Aaron was my guy because he made it look so easy. And I kind of patterned myself after him. And the next thing you know, they said I made it look easy. But 200% inside, I was really fighting to do things.
Because there are players in the game today, and for that matter, they've always been in the game. This will get another run home. Tulowitzki grounds out to Escobar, and Encarnacion scores, so the Blue Jays lead 3-1. But I brought up Carlos Beltran, your style of play. Devon White was another player that I remember that on the outside it didn't look like they were going 100% because they were so graceful and made it look so easy.
It's so smooth out there. It looks a lot easier than what people think it is. But when you're talking about Beltran, I keep saying he's a Hall of Famer, but I definitely believe he's going to make it. But being a switch hitter, that's why I don't never compare myself with him, because he hit from both sides of the plate. But in high school, I did the same thing. But my first game in pro ball, rookie ball, I took one to the right side, batting left-handed, and had nobody to help me, you know, that low in the minor league, to tell you what to do. And so I just stayed on my right-hand side, natural side. But whenever I went into a slump, I used to bat left-handed in batting practice and seemed to come out of it.
How about that tip?
Interesting.
I could go talk to some of the Royals
about that.
They've been struggling.
I never heard that before. You heard that before?
No.
Yeah. So you got hit. You got hit on the side of the face.
Right.
The side of the head. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that was it for batting left-handed.
For left-handed.
Okay.
And so I just jumped back on the natural side. And when I say come out of a slump, most of the time on the right-hand side, the one thing I would do is pull out with my left, pull to the left. So when I got on the left-hand side, it just lined up right away.
Right.
So
about that.
Yeah, I've heard that before, that when guys start switch hitting, that one of the hardest things that they have to learn is how to get out of the way of a ball.
that's it.
Escobar charges to the middle, and it's appropriate that the game ends, or the inning ends, with a good defensive play. Legends night, and he is a legend, Amos Otis. Thanks for spending some time with us.
My daughter dropped the ball. Oh, yeah.
by Chevy. Visit your local Kansas City area Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. By Panera Bread, food as it should be with 24 KC Metro locations. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. (3-1) Toronto to the bottom of the third inning. Nice to chat with Amos Otis.
It was.
Yeah.
What a nice career he had.
Very modest about his success, and I mean that sincerely. The comparison to Carlos Beltran, and maybe Beltran, when it's all said and done, has accomplished more in his career, but Carlos at times appeared not to be going 100%. And the comparison came up all the time with Amos Otis, because Amos Otis was a very big, graceful player, not big, graceful, fast player. And I brought up Devon White's name, and that was an early comparison for Carlos Beltran. It's interesting how life works, because at the time that was a huge compliment to Carlos Beltran to be compared to Amos Otis, and now here's Amos Otis saying what an honor it is for him to be compared to Carlos Beltran.
Yeah, no, it's always great to talk to some of the old-time greats.
Mondesi, Escobar, and Cuthbert here in the bottom of the third. Breaking ball strikes out Mondesi, and that's Liriano's second strikeout.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite.
Escobar led off the bottom of the first and hit a rather routine ground ball to third, and Darwin Barney threw it by the first baseman Encarnacion and out of play. Escobar went to second and scored a run which tied the game at 1 in the bottom of the first.
So Liriano coming out a little more aggressive now with a 2-run lead. Challenging hitters a little bit more.
Now Barney makes a difficult play on Escobar and a much better throw. That is a former Gold Glove second baseman, Darwin Barney, back in 2012 with the Cubs. And at one point went 141 consecutive games without an error. Tulowitzki takes care of Cuthbert, and with a 2-run lead, Liriano has a very quick bottom of the third inning. And for the last 4 years, Christine has been the board president of the Police Athletic League, a nonprofit organization working with Kansas City, Missouri police officers to build positive relationships with inner city youth through sports. And during her time as president, she has helped raise over $1.8 million for improvements to the Howell complex, and is over $1.2 million to fund various sports and mentoring programs for youth. And Christine is sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at tonight's game.
Christine, way to go. Way to invest in the youth. We need more people like you.
Melvin Upton Jr. grounded back to Dylan G in the second inning. And that is, from what I remember, a very skinny looking Melvin Upton Jr. compared to some years that we saw him with the Rays. That is the 4th walk allowed by Dylan G, and 2 of the walks have already turned into runs. Time for sprint trivia. I heard you were stellar on the last road trip.
Pretty hot.
Name the 5 Royals to lead the American League in doubles. Now Alex had a 50 double season. I don't remember if that was league leading, but they try and tempt us by putting Alex on the screen and ask that question.
Okay, yeah.
The question every night is, are we going to take the bait?
Right. It's a trap.
Strike to Darwin Barney. He flied out to center field in the second inning.
George has to be in there.
Now Billy Butler had a 50 double year, but not among the leaders.
Kevin Seitzer had.
How about Amos Otis?
There you go. There's an obvious one.
That'll be back into the crowd. No balls, 2 strikes. All right, we've got 2 out of the 5. There's 2 guys who go back a long way. Denny back to the first year in 1969, and Amos Otis was there in 1970. So how'd you like to sit in on a conversation between those 2?
It'd be great.
Line to Hosmer, and that might be the easiest double play he's going to have all year.
Just getting ready to talk about the steals of Upton. He's got 20 steals this year. And you're right. Haas, he just had to just reach down, pick it up, step on the base. And G will take that.
Fouled away by Devin Travis, who opened the game with a home run. He got a 1-2 breaking ball and homered to left. And he's also grounded out to second base. That's hit well to right field, and Lorenzo Cain has to go to the track to make the play. Thanks to the double play, Dylan G faces only 3 in the top of the 4th inning.
Here in the bottom of the fourth, around the league, we head to the Bronx. Our Artemio Mazda game break. Josh Tomlin, Starlin Castro, grand slam. Yankees up right now 7-3 in the sixth inning. So the Indians pitching that's struggling a bit lately. We know how rough it has been for the Royals over the last month plus. Talking to GM Dayton Moore today about the situation and his players, and he said that they have a lot of pride in the organization and in their character and themselves. He said we expect them to play much better, but they're in a situation they haven't been through before. He said they will persevere through it. They always have. And Dayton saying that it's frustrating for all of us, but we got ourselves into this one loss at a time. We'll get ourselves out of it one win at a time. Hasn't lost faith in his guys at all, especially not their character.
Thank you, Joel. 1-2 on Lorenzo Cain. Well, the Royals needed something special to happen after the All-Star break, and they've gone 6-14. Cain strikes out, and that's 3 for Liriano, and hard to believe, but that's the worst record in the major leagues since the All-Star break.
Yeah, when I saw the numbers, saw that, you know, you just have to shake your head on that. I mean, it doesn't seem like they've been playing that badly, but if you look at that last road trip, they, you know, right at 3 runs per game, just puts a lot of pressure on the staff. And then vice versa, when pitching gets you down in the hole in the first inning, it's tough for offenses to come up. So it just really hasn't been a good balance. Pitching, defense, timely hits, it hadn't been there.
And injuries. Wade Davis is on the disabled list. Coach Haber's done for the year. Mike Moustakas is done for the year. Lorenzo Cain has been out. Alex Gordon's been out. Two balls and 1 strike. Well, we'll see what happens. There's a little less than 2 months ago. But do you know what the Royals' record was in '85 or in '86 after they won the World Series?
That'll be interesting to hear.
In 1986, 1 year after the Royals won their first World Series, the Royals were 76-86, 10 games under 500. So sometimes you go back to the World Series again. Sometimes you struggle to play 500, and sometimes you can finish as many as 10 games below 500 after winning a World Series. There's no automatic.
Nope. And you know, you read and you see where the Giants have won, you know, every even year over the last few years, and Madison Bumgarner admired what the Royals did in back-to-back years, that they were able to do it in back-to-back years and go there and then win after they lost. And he said, I tip my cap to those guys because it's an extra strain on you when your team goes that far and that deep. It taxes you. Stressful pitches, stressful at-bats, plays. It wears you down.
Kendrys Morales gets a base hit on an 0-2 pitch, and he's 2 for 2. And as Dayton Moore said, by way of Joel, the guys aren't using that as an excuse. I mean, that's just the reality of the numbers. But I haven't heard any coach or any player, for that matter, anybody in the front office say, well, the '86 Royals did this, or the Giants could only win it every other year, whatever. They're still grinding away, but the numbers will tell you it's hard. No balls and 2 strikes on Salvador Perez. He flied out to left field in the second inning. And as a player, Hud, you probably can't allow yourself to believe that you're tired.
Right.
When it's August, right?
No, you always have to play mind games with yourself. You tell yourself, oh, look at that. Wide open. Salvador Perez takes full advantage, and he did that on an 0-2 pitch. So back-to-back singles, both with the count, no balls and 2 strikes. I mean, that ball, it took 5 seconds for it to get out of the infield. Second baseman was playing him up the middle, Devon Travis, and that ball just had perfect eyes on it. See if they can turn that into a 2-out rally. Great placement.
Two on, 2 out to Alex. He had a 2-run home run in St. Petersburg yesterday, accounting for the Royals' only 2 runs. Liriano struck him out looking in the second inning tonight.
Well, Alex has had 28 at-bats now, including his strikeout in his first or the second inning. So he's 8 for 28. Had some success off of him. Maybe he can just see if he can keep his hands inside the ball. They're playing him to pull, and he's been pitched inside all year long.
Oof. Got the low strike at 95, 1-1.
Liriano has strikeout ability, coming in 116 strikeouts in 113 innings. But that fastball, it's lively.
And he hits it to left field. Saunders crosses the line and makes a play. So a pair of 2-out singles. Morales and Perez are stranded. 3-1 Blue Jays at the end of 4. Fans will enjoy fireworks presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi. There is only one summer fireworks left after tonight, and that's on the 19th against the Minnesota Twins. Visit Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS to get your tickets for the last summer fireworks.
Oh, come on. Not really. You think she's a royal pain?
Well, you haven't lived with her.
You're right.
She doesn't look like one.
Nope. Cue's a button.
Inside to Jose Bautista. He singled to center in the first inning and then lined to left in the third. His timing, they say, is slowly coming back after missing over a month with a sprained big toe. He was only hitting 154 since coming back from the disabled list coming into tonight. So it has been a big struggle for him. He just homered in the previous series. The Blue Jays just swept the Astros in Houston. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
In that series, the Blue Jays offense struck out 61 times in a 4-game series. Can you believe that? That's a record. I'm not sure what kind of record it is, but That's a lot of swing and misses.
Record for futility.
Right.
Our T-Mobile Greater coverage of baseball. Mark Teixeira has a long-term contract that's expiring with the Yankees after this year, and he announced that he will not play for another team next year. He will retire at the end of the 2016 season. One of 5 switch hitters with 400 home runs. Also a very good defensive player. Another one of those switch hitters was one we've been talking quite a bit about tonight, Carlos Beltran.
Yeah, and he's 2 for 3 tonight with a double after he announced his retirement, so good for him.
By the way, we nailed the trivia question.
Well, we should give it again and let our fans take a few more guesses before we show our dominance.
Stay with it. Tough time of night, but Escobar sees it and brings it down. Donaldson walked his first 2 times up and now pops out to short. Coming out to Kauffman Stadium for the Baseball Hall of Fame tour, We Are Baseball. It's open now, and it's a one-of-a-kind exhibit featuring artifacts, images, never-before-seen video, virtual reality, and an IMAX movie. The exhibits will run through August 21st in the parking lot here at Kauffman Stadium. Visit halloffametour.com. Ran into somebody in the dining room before the game tonight who had gone through the tour on their way in and said it was great. Paulo Orlando sees it up against the tough gray sky. 3 up, 3 down for Dylan G in the top of the 5th inning.
Louisville.
There you go. Our sprint trivia question tonight. 5 Royals have led the American League in doubles. Inside to Paulo Orlando. We identified Alex Gordon, Amos Otis, and George Brett right away. And then some deep thinking. Paulo grounded into a fielder's choice that ended the 2nd inning. 2 balls and no strikes. You came up with
Hal McCraig.
Mac. And then one of the clues we got was prior to the glory years of the Royals, so the very early years. Get out. Deep left center field. Saunders is on the run, and it's gone. Number 3 for Paulo Orlando.
was aggressive the first couple pitches that come his way. He spit on both of them. 2-0 count. Liriano had to come in there. He threw a little cement mixer up there, just kind of spun a little bit, and he was able to barrel it. You could tell when he hit it, it had that backspin on it. And to carry enough to get it out of here. Good for him. Get ahead of the count. Look out over the plate.
He's going to hit more home runs. Now he's hitting .327, and he's playing center field tonight, but most of the year he's been in right field, so you expect more home runs from a corner outfielder. But if you look at the progression of a major league hitter, the first thing that happens is you become a good hitter first. You get your hits, and then hitters begin to figure out what pitch to look for to hit out of the ballpark, pick their spots. Paulo Orlando, I think he'll hit way more than 3 home runs. He has 2 home runs in his last 8 games. He had 1 home run in his first 73 games.
Yeah, you know, it takes some time for any player to figure out what zone they have. Nice play by Liriano.
Paulo did hit 7 last year for the Royals in 86 games, but he hit .249.
And that was in 241 at bats. Now he's got 273 this year, so really total that up is just a little over 500 at bats. Still not enough time for him to find out what really is his home run pitch, but he's going to learn it. That guy's going to learn it as well.
You don't want to hold on to that ball. He wants to throw that ball. Attaboy. So anyway, just to complete the thought on the sprint trivia question, the Royal that led the league in doubles before the so-called, easy for me to say, glory years. Upton makes a play on Escobar. Lou Piniella, who was Rookie of the Year for the Royals.
Yeah, doubles machine.
Cheslor Cuthbert is single to center and grounded out to short. Two balls and no strikes. Little bit low, 3-0. Liriano came into tonight leading the major leagues in walks, 69 in 113 innings. He is yet to walk a batter tonight. So Cheslor will take a strike. He might take 2.
He's only had 2 starts this year with no walks.
Out of 21.
Well, he's facing a team that doesn't like to walk anyway, but pressure you with putting the ball in, and we talked him into it.
Hud, I've told this story before, but I always think about it with a hitter that may hit home runs down the road. When my dad was managing the Mariners, he had a young catcher named Dave Valley, who does TV work for the MLB Network. Dave Valley was a huge Jim Rice fan. And the Mariners were in Boston, and Dave Valley wanted to meet Jim Rice. So my dad introduced him. I happened to be standing close. And Jim said, "How's your season going?" He said, "I'm going okay. I'm not driving the ball. I'm not hitting home runs like I want to. Do you have any tips?" And Jim Rice said something I'll never forget. He said, "Kid, just get your hits. Get your hits. The home runs will come."
That's right. Byproduct of a good swing.
Get your hits. Learn how to get base hits. Learn how to hit the ball to all fields. And then after a while, you figure out your swing. You figure out how they're pitching you, and you start looking for pitches. But when you're a young developing hitter, the first thing you want to be is you want to be a good hitter. and not be a one-dimensional hitter. There's a guy that, you know, is going to run into one every now and then, but what's he doing when he's not hitting a home run? One and two on Cain. Liriano struck him out in the 4th inning, and he got Lorenzo to ground into a double play in the 1st, but that produced a run, scoring Escobar from 3rd.
Lorenzo Cain has always hit lefties well. He's hitting .377 with 3 out of his 8 home runs against southpaws this year coming into today.
That stroke to the gap. Lorenzo Cain down in the count, 1-2, drives in Cuthbert, and he's digging for 3.
Cain takes care of the goose egg in the triple department, gets his first triple of the season. He'll take it. That ball split the gap. I mean, just directly. I mean, right down the middle, left center field. Good little leg kick there. Does his lean back here. Now, after contact, whenever he drives the ball, he knows. And watch this little extra he gets in his back arc right there. Yeah, nice finish. Good follow through. Didn't have enough to get it out of the park, but didn't need to. Pick up Cutler, score him easily from first base. And that one walk, wouldn't you know it, came back to score on Liriano.
Liriano's given up 6 hits. 4 hits have come when he was ahead in the count. 1 hit with the count 2 balls 2 strikes. 1-1, so he's getting ahead. He's not putting the Royals away, and this is type of Royals offense we've been used to when they're playing well. Tough to strike out and productive down in the count.
They're looking more confident.
And now Hosmer, let's see what he does down in the count. 1 ball 2 strikes. Liriano strikes him out, and that ends the inning. But the Royals get 2. Paulo Orlando, he was ahead in the count. He homers his 3rd of the year, and then with 2 outs, Cuthbert takes a walk, and Cain triples him home to tie it. Royals baseball is brought to you by Thoroughbred Ford. Ready for a great deal on a new Ford? Then it's time to go to Thoroughbred Ford. nice, comfortable night. And a 3-3 tie to the top of the 6th inning. Paulo Orlando and Lorenzo Cain driving in the runs in the Royals' 2-run 5th. Michael Saunders tries to bunt his way on. Dylan Gee has gone 5 innings. He has thrown 78 pitches. He has retired 7 of the last 8. And the Royals are working in the bullpen. Pulled foul, no balls and 2 strikes. Peter Moylan, who the Royals feel is a good matchup against this Blue Jays team with all that right-handed power. He's the first to loosen up.
Seems like G's found his groove, down in the zone. This was the report on G for success against the Blue Jays. Trying to
hanging changeup.
Yeah, keep the ball out of the air.
Michael Saunders is 2 out of 3. He's driven in one of the Blue Jays runs tonight.
Saunders having a career year, an all-star voted in by the fans. Just trusted his hands there on an off-speed pitch. Backside fell out a little bit, but he's able to lay it out there in a large part of the field.
Troy Tulowitzki with a runner at first base, nobody out. Alex waits for it, waits, and makes the play. 1 down. Tulowitzki's 0 for 2. Join the Royals for Arts Day at the K. That's coming up on Sunday. Pre-game festivities and the outfield experience as the Royals showcase various facets of the local art scene prior to the Royals and the Blue Jays. Each Arts Day at the K theme ticket provides a $5 donation to the Arts KC Fund. So that's Sunday. Royals.com/theme tickets. Russell Martin not so sure about that call by home plate umpire Mark Carlson. Martin has flied to right and grounded out to short. Oh, and 2. 83 pitches for Dylan Gee. Getting through the first 75 has been a key for him as a starter. So that's why the Royals have Moylan warming up. Struck him out. And that is number 1 for Dylan Gee tonight.
Boy, nice movement too. How about that? That ball was starting out over the middle of the plate. Looked good to Martin. Then ends up off the plate 3 inches. Maybe 4. That's where you want to finish. Off the middle.
And now Upton with Saunders at first base. Melvin Upton is his birth name. His father was known as Boss Man. He's a college basketball referee, and Melvin was known as Boss Man Jr. So that's where you get the nickname BJ. First name does not begin with a B. His middle name does not begin with a J, but he was always BJ. But his friends and family have always called him Melvin. He was looking for a fresh start after some tough years in Atlanta, so he thought he'd begin with changing his name or going back to his birth name.
Yeah, you wonder the guy is thinking there, but Gee finishes him off up in the zone. That's very nice. Good, strong finish.
Quality start. 3 runs in 6 innings. 6th inning. Kendrys Morales will lead off our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Barb Gadwood from Lenexa. If the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning, Barb wins $700. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park in this inning, then Barb wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. Morales, Perez, and Gordon against Liriano, making his 74th pitch, and it's in for a strike. Morales is 2 for 2.
Surprised Liriano using as many fastballs as he is tonight. Normally he's making hitters chase changeups and sliders. But one of the reasons is the fact that he's pitching to his old battery mate, Russell Martin. The two were teammates in Pittsburgh in 13 and 14, and had a 2.92 ERA when the two worked together. So that was discussed when they were going out trying to acquire another starting pitcher to protect Sanchez, who's their young pitcher, their young phenom. They wanted to go to a 6-man rotation. So when Liriano's name came up, Russell Martin said, hey, look, I can work with him. I can make him good for us. So they consummated the deal with Pittsburgh, and they got him another lefty, their second lefty in their 6-man rotation with Jay Happ. So they're hoping this is the combination here that's going to help them get to postseason again.
Grounded out to Barney at third. Morales is out for the first time tonight. Salvador Perez is 1 for 2. Yeah, Liriano, he's been an enigma for most of his career. He's always had the arm. He was signed originally as an outfielder by the Giants. Made a name for himself first with Minnesota. He came over in that one-sided trade. Minnesota sent A.J. Pierzynski to the Giants, and they got Francisco Liriano, Boof Bonser, and Joe Nathan in that trade. 0-2 on Salvi. His career has just been a roller coaster. He's had some good years, some bad years. Walks have always been an issue. He has thrown a no-hitter. In 2011, he no-hit the White Sox, but this kind of sums it up. A no-hitter, and he had 6 walks. And he began the game with an ERA over 9. Salvador Perez strikes out on 3 pitches. That was the highest ERA before a no-hitter in Major League history. He threw 123 pitches, and only about half of those were strikes. I mean, that's Francisco Liriano.
All right, he's going to rely on chase. Guys chasing balls out of the zone. Gets them up with a fastball, tries to get them looking for it, and then using his secondary pitches out of the zone. The one walk he's had tonight ended up scoring in the 5th inning. That was Chester Cuthbert. After Locane drove him in with his first triple of the year.
2-0 to Alex. He is 0 for 2 against Liriano. Not all the time, but most of the time, a pitcher is not joking with a teammate on the bench if he's still in the game.
You're exactly right. You're correct.
Peter Moylan out in the Royals bullpen is just standing on the mound and looking through the gate. So all arrows point to him coming on for the top of the 7th inning. Dylan G turns in his first quality start of the season. 3-1 to Alex.
Yeah, you know, good for him. Dylan G needed a nice outing. Now they know that the 5th spot in the rotation of the Royals has been a problem, and it has not been a productive spot, but this is good for him moving forward.
Full count to Alex.
Alex is trying to get that walk. After he took the 2 previous pitches, now about Liriano, watch him get him off the plate. He's going to come right in there with a heater.
Still 3-2. And he gets the walk with 2 down. Second walk, both with 2 outs allowed by Liriano, and now Paulo Orlando with a man on and 2 outs. And Paulo, last inning, turned in our ram drive of the game.
Slider that just really didn't have a lot of depth to it, and he was able to catch it just right with a nice easy swing. Third of the year.
Got the high strike, 0-1. Into shallow left center field. Alex makes the turn and goes to third. And Paulo Orlando has a 2-hit game.
Okay, that's a good job of hitting there. He fought that inside fastball off. It was in. Possibly could have been called a strike, but Paulo was able to pull those hands inside and muscle it out there. Now, good read by Alex Gordon. Okay, the ball was hit soft enough to where he can advance to third base, and that's good when you're facing a guy like Liriano who has 8 wild pitches. Because you never know. He bounces one, kicks it up, and can give the Royals the lead. Plays in front of you. Alex Gordon, he sees it. He doesn't need the third base coach to come over on that. He knows his speed compared to how the ball is hit and where the fielder is. Way to be aggressive.
It's Donnie Barnes warming up in the Jays bullpen. Dane Johnson is the bullpen coach on the phone with the Blue Jays dugout. Pitching coach Pete Walker just went out to have a chat with Liriano. Mondesi is struck out and grounded back to the mound. Way inside, ball 1.
Mondesi struck out the first time he faced him in the 3rd inning. Liriano made him look bad. And he hit a little shot back up the mound that Liriano caught.
Paulo takes off. Russell Martin lets him run. Stolen base without a throw, and now 2 in scoring position for Mondesi.
He'll take it. 8th bit back. Now, lousy single could be huge here, or even more. Let's just see if he can try to hit that ball right back up the middle.
That's well hit. Saunders makes the play, didn't quite get it. And Mondesi, look at him. He was around second base when Saunders made that play.
Nice try.
At the end of 6, tied at 3 with Moylan coming into the game.
7th here at the K with the Royals and Jays. First game of 3, and like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Dylan G had some issues early. Kind of had a home run and a couple runs given up in the 3rd, but after that he settled down. A nice quality start. The first in Dylan G's Royal career here. It's a very good job of mixing up his pitches, keeping them down, up and when he needed to finish off some hitters. Dylan G, good job. Hands it over to Pete Moylan.
Chevy called to the bullpen. Number 9 hitter Darwin Barney takes inside, ball 1.
'23rd game, 4.21 ERA. 292 opponent's average. Not bad. Sinker, slider. And the way Moylan ran in from the outfield, I could tell by his jog. It wasn't exactly a jog. It was almost like a sprint. He was looking like he's happy to be in this game. I like that. Want it. Execute the pitches. Focus down against these Blue Jays. That'll work.
Paulo Orlando makes a play in center field. Darwin Barney is 0 for 3. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at one of the 7 Rally House locations in the KC metro area. All participants will be entered to win a Majestic prize pack. One and one on Devin Travis. He opened the game with a home run to left. He is 1 for 3. To Hosmer. Race to the base. 3 men going to the bag. Hosmer gets there first.
Haas showing the Gold Glove skills out. Nice little range to his right. He's quick. His hands are soft. He keeps the glove down low and comes up when he has to. And then he's quick to his feet. Got right over there. No problem. Folks, grab your running shoes and join Fox Sports Kansas City and the Royals at the Royals Charities 5K on August 27th. Each participant will receive a World Series James t-shirt, ad, and Royals ticket voucher, along with a chance to make a lap around Kauffman Stadium. So sign up now at royals.com/run.
Oh, and 2 on Bautista. The volume on the boos gets turned up every time he comes to the plate tonight. He's probably getting used to that.
Nice job by Pete Moylan.
But the boos are not as loud as those cheers.
That's right. Moylan, he took that mound like he meant business, and sure enough, he did.
fans here in the house, or perhaps Peter Moylan fans after that strikeout of Jose Bautista. Panera takes us around the league. New York all over Cleveland. New York, the other ones, the Mets, trailing Detroit. Texas right now being shut out by Houston as the Astros trying to look for revenge against their in-state rivals. Artemisia Mazda game break. That would be the swing of Victor Martinez against another Royal favorite, Thor, Noah Syndergaard. 4-2 Tigers up, so if form holds tonight, Detroit will win again. Cleveland would lose, and that would make it 2 games in the American League Central. Guys, the shame of it all is that as the Royals have struggled, so have Cleveland. So the timing hasn't been good. It has been the Tigers taking advantage.
Ball 1 from Scott Feldman to Alcides Escobar.
Little different look. Feldman got a 3.05 ERA. That's not too shabby. He's a sinker slider guy.
There's the slider, and it's 1-1.
He's not going to overpower you. He's experienced. He used to throw sidearm, but it didn't work for him. He didn't get as good a movement as he does from over the top like that. He's a nice add to their bullpen.
2-1 to Escobar.
Looked like some cutting action right there.
And on the hands, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tomorrow night, coverage begins at 5:30 with Ivy Royals Live. First pitch is at 6:15. Danny Duffy and Aaron Sanchez. How about that for a pitching matchup? Did Escobar make contact? He did. Danny Duffy is 7-1. His ERA is under 3. He's coming up at 1 hitter against the Rays. 1 hit in 8 innings. Aaron Sanchez is 11-1, and his ERA is under 2.8.
If both of those guys are on, there won't be a whole lot of hitting.
Saunders back in left field. 1 away. Feldman, a deadline deal with the Houston Astros. Drew Hutchison went from the Blue Jays to Houston. Take that back. Drew Hutchinson was involved in the Pirates deal for Francisco Liriano. No balls and 1 strike on Cheslor Cuthbert. On base twice. He singled in the first inning. Then he walked with 2 outs in the 5th. And Lorenzo Cain tripled him home to tie the game. The Feldman trade involved Jesse Chavez. Still 0-2.
Dirty Bo. Glad you're here.
One and 2 on Cuthbert. Looking for a pitch up out of the strike zone, but he was able to make contact. Joakim Soria is getting ready for the top of the 8th inning, and all he'll get is Donaldson, Encarnacion, and Saunders. Deep right center field. Upton got a good jump and makes a play. 2 down. If you're looking for good deals in the last 2 months of the season, how about a second half saver pack? You can choose any remaining 3, 5, or 7 Royals games, including matchups with the Yankees, the Tigers, and the Indians, and you'll save up to 30% off the regular dynamic price. Take advantage today by purchasing a second half saver pack at Royals.com/saver pack. Kane almost nailed by that fastball. Lorenzo tied the game with a 2-out triple in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3. And that hamstring didn't look like it was bothering him at all.
No, fun to watch him go at full speed.
That was ruled a swing. 1-1.
Before he got to second base, it was nice to see those long strides and how he cut that bag right on the corner on his way to third. Full speed.
Tulowitzki backhands, throws back across his body. Very good play.
He makes that play in his sleep.
Joakim Soria in for the top of the 8th inning in a 3-3 tie.
Big Red.
That was Husker night a few years ago, and it's Husker night tomorrow. The first 7,500 fans who bring their Huskers night themed ticket to Gate A will receive a limited edition gray and red branded KC cap. That's tomorrow at 6:15. Joel asked Alex before that game, would he sing after the game? And he said no. But he had a big game. He had a big home run. He was Joel's guest.
Yeah.
And he got the crowd into it.
But he kept his word. He didn't sing, but he knew the chant, and they answered back. It was a special moment.
That was not singing. You're right.
Yeah, no. It's close.
2-0 from Soria to Josh Donaldson. Soria right back in the saddle tonight after taking the loss yesterday in St. Petersburg. 2 balls and 1 strike. Royals had a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the 8th inning, and Brad Miller hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th, and the Rays won 3-2.
And that was his changeup. He's got 4 pitches: fastball, slider, changeup, and a big curve that he'll slow. He'll lob the curve up there to see if he can get him to chase. But he really hasn't had a finished pitch this year. A pitch that can finish hitters off when he needs to. And that kind of hurt him. It's hurt him at times.
Fastball at 93.
But he actually has better stuff this year, Ned said, than his previous Royal stint as far as heat. Now that ball was out over the plate, and it was a changeup, so it sped his bat up, and Miller's having a career year as far as homers go. And it was just in the wrong spot.
Donaldson with a base hit into right center field. He's on for the 3rd time tonight.
He's got a little split finger changeup combination there. You could almost call it a split if you'll watch him. I mean, that's split finger right there for sure. It's up and it's hit. Good inside out swing. Hit it against the shift they were playing him to pull.
Edwin Encarnacion had a swing at a fastball that was up. He's 0 for 2. Reached with a walk and scored a run in the 3rd inning. The Blue Jays are 3rd in the league in runs scored. They are 2nd in the league in home runs, and they are number 1 in walks. They've hit 1 home run tonight. So far, the Royals have done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark, and that 1 home run was a solo home run. But 2 walks have turned into runs. Here's a man at the plate who has 30 home runs. Soria got it in on him. 0-2 on Encarnacion.
Okay, that's a good pitch there. That's the pitch he wants to induce that ground ball double play. Encarnacion's grounded into 13. Already, Soria staying down and in. Now Soria, body language has not been the best either, and so he can clean that up a little bit by working a little bit quicker, getting the ball, getting up on the mound. He was walking around the mound and didn't look confident at all, and the hitters see that. That's why it's so important for a pitcher to be able to maintain your emotions and don't show anything to the opposition who's trying to make a living off of you.
Well, the bat was fair, the ball was foul. You don't see a big power hitter like Encarnacion take a swing like that very often.
No, he was definitely fooled, and that curveball in the outside corner, he just fought it off, literally.
What do they say sometimes? Throw the bat head at the ball.
That's right.
There you go. Literally.
Some guys get fooled and they'll let their hands go, and it's an instinctive thing. It's not something they plan on doing. They like the smell of that burning wood off the ball.
Encarnacion hit that 30th home run last night in Houston. He has 5 straight 30 home run seasons. Coming up on 300 for his career. Strike 3 over the inside. Now there was a pitch yesterday that Soria was unhappy about because he didn't get that call. And I saw your guys' replay that it showed that the pitch was inside, but he was not happy. It was about that spot right there, and he was jawing at the home plate umpire during the inning and after the inning, and now that call goes his way.
Yeah, that's just the way it is in baseball.
Michael Saunders with a runner at first, 1 out. And Soria gets that call. Saunders has 2 hits, including an RBI.
And it doesn't do you any good because a ball and strike, once it's called, I've never seen an umpire go back on it and call it a ball once he called it a strike. So your competitors, for sure, yeah, and you want those pitches, but the better guys let it go. They can let that bat go, and don't even let that anger enter your mind. Keep you clean and look on thinking about your next pitch there. Let your manager or somebody else argue for you.
Line to Escobar. Donaldson was able to get back in time without a throw. But to your point, Hud, it was just another thing that's appeared to be out of character for Joakim Soria.
Yeah. It's not something that you want to be known for.
He was in his first stint with the Royals, and he was having a great deal of success. But he was about as cool as anybody on the roster. I mean, we had no idea what was going on inside of Joakim Soria, because on the outside he appeared to be completely unaffected, whether he was nailing down a 1-2-3 save or suffering a blown save.
And that's exactly what you want. The guys that are even keeled have more long-term success.
Tulowitzki is 0 for 2. He has an RBI. Base hit left field. Tulowitzki has his first hit. The Blue Jays have 2 in the 8th inning. And now it'll be Soria and Martin, Russell Martin.
It's a good spot. He stayed out of the middle of the plate. Tulo pulled his hands in and drilled it. There's nothing you can do about that. That's credit to the hitter. Martin 0 for 1, only faced Soria 1 time in his career. Good fastball. Today I saw Art Stewart, Hall of Fame scout for the Royals. He told me that Soria, when they had him first round here, he didn't throw as hard as he's throwing now. Said but he had sharper stuff. His slider was sharper. The curveball had a little bit more bite to it.
His fastball had more movement. That's the question I've just asked. It's not a rhetorical question. I've just wondered. I mean, he's throwing harder now than he did first time at the Royals with his fastball, but does that mean his fastball's better?
No, if it's straight, it doesn't matter velocity. If it's even more, hitters like it harder, but it's all about that late life, that late finish on pitches. And the slider, he was talking about how it's more lateral moving now. So on a flatter plane, and hitters can square that up more.
I remember so many times when he was Royals closer, he'd throw a fastball, the hitter would swing and miss as if they were overmatched. And when you see a swing like that, it's only natural to look up for the radar gun. Man, what was that? 91, 92, kind of like Ian Kennedy's fastball
right
this year, where the velocity won't suggest that it's overpowering, but it has been overpowering. And now this time around, fastball 93, 94, 95, but he hasn't overmatched hitters with that pitch like he did first time around. Got Martin to chase one out of the strike zone. 2-2. $31,831 are here tonight. Kick off a 6-game homestand. Struck him out. So he gives up 2 hits. But he also strikes out 2, and Soria pitches a scoreless 8th inning.
Somebody get back up on that horse now. Get him a run. Herrera, he'll be coming in if they can get him one.
Royals baseball is brought to you by Jeep, your official vehicles of summer, celebrating 75 summers of living 4x4 ever. Joakim Soria bounces back tonight, pitches a scoreless 8th inning. And now the Blue Jays make a move to their bullpen. And it's Brett Cecil. 5.31 earned run average and a .329 opponent's batting average. Hosmer chops it out to Tulowitzki, who bobbles. Close, but out.
Haas early swinging on Cecil. 87 to 94 with his fastball curve changeup. And I told you Tulowitzki makes that play in his sleep. It's because he's so good at going into the hole and throwing from that underarm position. He doesn't have to get on top. Every player is different. Some, like Escobar, like to get on top with their throws, but Tulowitzki, he's a brilliant shortstop that has confidence in throwing from almost Laredo underneath.
Laredo?
Laredo. But you have to.
Oh, so it's not Laredo, it's Laredo.
That one was. And you have to aim up the line, up the right field line when your momentum's going all the way to the third base dugout. You have to throw it. You have to have the perfect release on that.
Well, if the Royals are going to win tonight, they have to put an end to a long streak. Royals have gone 8 consecutive games scoring 3 runs or fewer. Those are the longest streaks this year. The Royals is the only one that's an active streak. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that streak ties a team record for a single season. Royals had a streak of 8 straight in 1972 and 1976. Morales is down on strikes, and there are 2 away.
Drop the hammer on him. Cecil's a veteran player and a pitcher and reliable. He's had a lot of different roles in his Blue Jays career. He's been a starter, he's been a long man, he's been a guy who's been used in the 7th, 8th. And they're confident in it.
Breaking ball is pulled foul. Salvador Perez 3 for 7 in his career against Cecil with a double. In tonight's game, he's 1 for 3. Even in a down year for the Royals, they still have been much better than their opponents in the 8th inning or later. The Royals have outscored their opponents by 37 runs in the 8th inning or later. So that's still a Royal strength with the team 6 games under 500.
That high fastball there is to set up the breaker or the changeup down low. 2 strikes.
Darwin Barney throws out Salvador Perez. Cecil gets the job done, and we head to the 9th inning. The gate opens for Kelvin Herrera. We have a 3-3 tie. The ninth inning, Kelvin Herrera is on for the Royals. We have a great pitching matchup here at Kauffman Stadium tomorrow night. And before the Royals and the Blue Jays, you can watch the Red Sox and the Dodgers on FS1. David Ortiz against one-time Red Sox first baseman Adrian Gonzalez. It all begins tomorrow at 3 p.m. or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Herrera trying to get the game where the Royals can walk off. So he comes on in a 3-3 tie and will get the Blue Jays 8, 9 and 1 hitters.
60 strikeouts in 47 2/3. That's powerful. It's dominant. He's got 3 saves. Let's take you back to Tampa. That's right for the last one. Look at the movement on the changeup. Using the defense. You know, Herrera, he's got strikeout ability. I just told you how many strikeouts he's got per inning. But look, he's using that defense, keeping the ball down, blazing fastball, changeup and slider combination. He's been very tough to square up.
Breaking ball strike to Upton. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. One ball, one strike.
Couple sliders in a row. Now that's a pitch that he's used full time this year. He'd been dabbled with it a little bit last year, but this year he's using it and really doesn't need it. But he tells me he wants to keep him off of that fastball at 99 and the changeup at 88. That looked like a good spot there and wasn't given by home plate umpire Mark Carlson. A blazer. I mean, he's got good control with it.
2-2.
Two pitches is all a back end reliever needs nowadays, especially as dominant as they are and as hard as they throw. Because you're only facing maybe 3-4 guys, maybe 6 if you stay in for 2 innings. But look, that fastball that Herrera's got right under 100, and the changeup at 88 is big enough and changed a variation of speed there that does the job of keeping the hitter off balance. That's what the whole key is, to getting hitters out.
That should have been ball 3. Upton strikes out for a second time tonight.
That fastball had some hair on it. I mean, look at this movement. That started on the outer half of the plate and ends up and in, almost hitting him. That ball had some rising type action.
Darwin Barney is 0 for 3. He has committed an error at third base, which helped the Royals score their first run. Escobar jump throw, one hop, got him at first
base. Woo, that's a hat tipper. Cuthbert, he tried to get it to his left. He's got excellent range, but Escobar caught that with conviction. The ball stayed in his glove about 1 second, and he had it out and changed directions and using the turf. Oh, man, and Haas helped him out there with a nice stretch. Look at him getting up, throwing off of that right foot, and he got him. There's no doubt. And Gibbons, he's going to try to replay it, but he can replay that all he wants. And that's just one heck of a Gold Glove play.
This shouldn't take very long.
No.
But they will challenge.
Not even close.
2 down. The call is confirmed.
Yeah, you know, and John Gibbons, he's not a big fan of using his video coordinator. He said that before. He'll go on what he thinks and how he sees it. He don't care. That's what he said.
So 2 down to Devin Travis. Now Herrera has not allowed a run in almost exactly a month. 1 day shy of a month. But the last time he allowed a run was to Toronto. That was the final game of the 3-game series, and the Blue Jays swept the Royals, and Herrera allowed 2 runs late and took the loss. 2 runs, 3 hits in 1 inning. He has not allowed a run since. 1-2 on Devin Travis. Travis jumped on a hanging breaking ball to lead off the game and homer to left field, his 8th of the year. To left field, deep. Alex back, still back, and it's gone. Devin Travis hits another home run. And Kelvin Herrera, who last gave up a run to the Blue Jays 1 month ago tomorrow, Toronto breaks through again tonight. It's the first time that Devin Travis has hit 2 home runs in 1 game.
Ball was at 98. It's above the belt, and Travis was looking for it, and when it left his bat, I knew it had a chance. The only way was if Alex could climb over that big wall out there in left field. It wasn't going to happen. Wouldn't you know it?
Man, how do you call that a mistake pitch? I mean, that's 98 and it's not even in the strike zone.
Call that just great reaction, and all he did was just quick with his top hand. You have to be able to get that top hand through the ball to generate that kind of pop. Now watch his top hand. See how he's got the top. See how the top hand rolled over the top. He's able to catch that pitch. With that, without it, you pop it straight up, and it's a catchable ball. It stays in play.
But if he swings and misses at that pitch, he strikes out, and you say, good job by Herrera getting to chase one out of the strike zone.
Exactly. So that's when you credit the hitter.
And by the way, both home runs for Devin Travis tonight have come on 1-2 pitches.
First one that he hit off G was a curveball. Stayed up and he read it. That there was 98.
Bautista walks, and that gives Donaldson a chance to come to the plate. Joaquin Benoit gets ready for the bottom of the 9th inning. Roberto Osuna is the Blue Jays closer, but he's been used quite a bit lately, so he was not available tonight. He has 24 saves. Benoit has 0 saves, but a lot of experience pitching late in the game. Breaking ball, strike to Donaldson. He's walked twice and singled. Osuna has pitched in 4 of the last 5 days. Just inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Great location on Donaldson. He's got a good eye, but you don't want to leave anything up. That's where you want to miss.
One and 2. Bautista was running, and that's fouled away. There are elbow pads which protect hitters from getting hit by a baseball. And then there's what Donaldson has, which protects you from getting hit by a tank.
He's got it covered.
Two and two.
Got a high on-base percentage like Donaldson, second in the league in walks, first in runs. He's getting on base and they're driving him home. Very productive player. Right there, just fighting off that slider to buy him another pitch. Offensively, he's about as good as they get from the right-handed side of the plate. Get him.
I hope that got him on the helmet. And I think it must have if he could jump up that quickly. It was a changeup, first of all.
Yep, you see how he's holding that ball back. He got away from him. Shoulder came out.
Oh, right in the ear flap.
Oh man, he's very fortunate.
Thank goodness for the ear flap.
Yep, and even a changeup.
Yeah, Herrera's changeup is in the upper 80s, even close to 90.
See, and at the moment of impact, the hitter, they think the worst because you've been hit, and lots of times it's numb right away, so he wasn't sure. So the Royals fans happy that he's not injured worse. Very scary.
And there's history. No intent. It was a changeup, but there's history. And I bet Donaldson right now doesn't know that that was a changeup. But remember that game in Toronto last season. Donaldson and Edinson Volquez. And later in the game, we had a bench clearing incident when Sanchez hit Alcides Escobar. And I'm sure before Donaldson puts his street clothes on tonight and heads back to the hotel, somebody will tell him that that was a changeup. And you don't try and hit a guy with a changeup.
No. Even if you're trying to drill somebody, you never go above the shoulders. It's life threatening.
Oh, and 2 on Encarnacion. With 2 outs, nobody on, and the count 1-2 on Devin Travis. Travis homered. Then a walk, then a hit batter, and now a ground ball to third. Cuthbert in the dirt, and Hosmer can't handle it, but Cuthbert kept it on the infield, and that saved a run.
Excellent play by Cuthbert. And for Hosmer, great effort to dig it. That's so tough. Cuthbert knew he had time with Encarnacion running, not that fast. So he got to his feet, found the ball, didn't even have time to look for the seams. Left foot slipped out on him a little bit. And here's Haas. This is just an ole, just on the heel. Tried to get his big glove there in front of it, but they saved a run. Herrera laboring in this inning. Finding out how tough it is to be a closer. Even though it's not a save situation, but the game's on the line.
Yeah, he's not going to get a statistic save or blown save, but the job is the same.
Right.
A scoreless 9th inning in a close game. This is not your typical non-save situation when a closer comes in with a 4 or 5 run lead just to get some work. It's still a game on the line appearance as Wade Davis watches on the disabled list with a strained forearm. Saunders strikes out, and out of all that, the Blue Jays get 1. Alex Gordon will lead off the 9th inning, followed by Paulo Orlando and Raul Mondesi. The Royals are down by 1. And the Blue Jays lead 4-3 to the bottom of the 9th. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler with Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery. Kevin Pillar moves into center field. He replaces B.J. Upton, but Upton goes from center field to left. So Pillar hits in Saunders' spot. And here's Joaquin Benoit. And the first pitch hit well to left field. Upton to the wall to make the play.
Great effort there. Trying to go opposite field. Got up underneath it. Had the right type of height, but just not enough on it. First pitch by Benoit. He kept it away from him, and it's a good thing, because if that ball's an inch more on the inner half, that ball could have been out. Plenty of room to spare. Benoit fastball. He's still got a good one, the veteran. Slider and a changeup. Very good changeup. Opponent's only hitting 193. Has experience. Closer. 6th, 7th inning guy, 8th inning guy. He's even started some in his career. 50 career saves.
Up the right field line, foul by a couple of feet.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Paulo is homered tonight. That was leading off the 5th inning. He is also singled and has a stolen base. 2 out of 3 and hitting .330. He is 0 for 1 against Benoit. Still 0-2. Coming up after the game, whenever that may be. Boulevard Royals Live with Joel and Monty. Highlights here from Royals manager Ned Yost. Reaction from the Royals clubhouse. On the ground to third. Barney got caught in between hops and then he throws it away, and that's into the dugout suite. The second throwing error, 2 base throwing error for Darwin Barney. And the tying run is at second with 1 out.
John Gibbons is saying, oh no, here we are again, back at the K. Last time we were here, the Royals took care of us in the American League Championship Series. And now we saw how the Royals were able to take advantage of errors in the same play that happened in the first inning on Escobar, the first hitter of the game. It's almost identical. He goosed the throw. Sidearm position, if you're not just right with that, the ball's going to sink and tail. Not staying on top of it. And we'll see now with Jarrod Dyson stepping in to hit for Raul Mondesi.
Down and in, ball 1.
Dyson 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter this season. Four for 15 off the bench in his career. Not bad.
Orlando takes off for third. He is out, and Barney makes a great play.
Just like that, Paulo thought he could get a good break on Benoit and didn't get the jump he wanted. If you can't make that 100%, you better not go. You're already in scoring position. Barney was able to catch it and tag before he got there, and Barney has redeemed himself. What great hands there, soft. And watch it, you can't even replay this. It's a no-doubter. Picks and tags. He got that lead foot, by the way. So you only can do that when you know 100% you can get that base. Barney's showing some soft hands. When you catch and tag like that, you really have to have a good feel, and sometimes that slide can jar the ball loose. He definitely redeemed himself there.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Full count. Alcides Escobar is on deck.
Good job by Jarrod here. He's competing. It's a very difficult job to come off the bench late, especially facing a back-end guy, a closer. He's doing a nice job. He's competing here.
I thought it was a full count before that pitch, and the Royals dugout is arguing.
That's saying ball 4.
I'm with Ned. The pitch before I said full count with Escobar on deck. But Ned Yost is satisfied that Mark Carlson was right. So now it's 3-2. And of course, a base hit into left center field. And Dyson is on with 2 outs. So that makes the Paulo Orlando caught stealing even more painful. And let's see if Dyson takes a shot at second base.
You got to go.
Get into scoring position for Escobar.
It's nice to see the Royals with a little bit of fight in them. Dyson with a great plate appearance there at a pinch hit, making him 2 for 2. Now he's got to be aggressive and be ready to be on the move.
And early. Not going. And Escobar fouls it back. Escobar's slugging percentage is .303. He has 18 extra base hits all season long, so the chances of him hitting an extra base hit are much slimmer than him hitting a bloop single, and that's why you need Dyson in scoring position.
That's right. I was expecting Dyson to go first pitch, but he's got to get over there.
Not going. And the count is 0-2. Another reason to run, and maybe this influenced Paulo Orlando, the second lowest caught stealing percentage in the major leagues belongs to the Blue Jays. Only the Braves have a lower percentage. Now he's going. Escobar strikes out, and the game is over. Devin Travis hits 2 home runs. He homers in the first inning, and he homers in the 9th inning. So all that power, Bautista, Donaldson, Encarnacion, Saunders, Tulowitzki, Martin, you name it, and it's Devin Travis, their leadoff man, who provides the power tonight. Blue Jays are 4-0 against the Royals this year. We'll be right back.